Right, starting to get round to a few of the other jobs that I wanted to do once the car was running and most of the more serious issues were fixed. So I'm going to have a go at the oil change today. This is a pretty straightforward process on these. As it is with most cars that I've done, the odd potential problem, usually getting the drain plug off if it's not been off for a long time and if it's been done up by a garage or over tightened. Not all garages over tighten them, hasten to add. Getting the oil filter off, that can be a problem, although I seem to recall back in the summer when I was doing the cam belt and the sort of recommission, well, spring last year it was, wasn't it? I think I did try and turn the oil filter. It's very accessible. I'll show you where it is. And I think it was actually starting to undo. So I just sort of redid it hand tight. Oh, we need some light here, don't we? Where did I just put that? There it is. I think I might need to charge my lamp up as well, because we've got the old fading lights flashing. There's the oil filter. Oh, give us one more. There you go. Big white thing down there, which I now can't point to because I've got my hands full. Hang on. Sure we can sort something out here. Nothing like being prepared for doing a video. Right, there it is. And everything in here, you have to take my word for this, is really nice and hot because I've just been out for a nice long run. And bit of oil. Is that seeping somewhere or burning? Not sure. We'll investigate that. Look, it looks a little bit damp, doesn't it, around the filler cap? Anyway, engine's nice and hot, so oil will be very hot at the minute. I'm going to let it cool down for another few minutes, and then I'll get under there and have a go at trying to get the drain plug off. You'll notice I sort of missed this, didn't I? Pretty obvious. Just got it up on some ramps. Don't think we need to say too much more about that. You just drive onto them once they're in position. Now under here, let's have a little look. Right, if I'm not very much mistaken, there's our drain plug. There. Looks pretty big. No signs of leaking around it, which is good. Hopefully when we put it back on. Actually, I haven't checked whether I need a new seal for that. That's a good point, isn't it? Perhaps I ought to quickly Google that before I touch anything. I don't think you do, but I might be very wrong in saying that. I have known some plugs that come with a fresh or a new washer. The Rover V8, for example, that has a little copper washer that usually you replace. I think I've got that right. Or was that the Fiesta? Can't remember. Anyway, waffling. So main things are to undo that drain plug off. Obviously, we'll stick something under here to catch the oil that's going to come out. I really am stating the obvious now. While I'm under there as well, I might just do a few other checks and just see how everything else is looking. Yeah, so we'll do the drain plug. We'll get the oil filter off once the majority of the oil is drained out. Oh, and I forgot to mention the filler cap. We loosen that. Step 1 would be to loosen that. Step 2, drain plug. Step 3, oil filter. You probably know all this, so I'll stop talking and I'll update you once we've got something else interesting to look at. Right, here we are. We've got properly set up under here, ready to try and take the sump plug off. So we've got a draining, a container to drain the oil into, lots of newspaper down, just in case we have a little accident. Got these gloves I usually wear when I'm doing oil changes, just thick gloves. It kind of helps protect your fingers in case it's very hot and you burn them. You've got to watch oil doesn't drip down your arm. And this plug is facing down. Normally the ones I've done before have been sort of facing the side, 90 degrees. So I've got a feeling we'll have a bit of fun trying to remove that so it doesn't drop into the container and all the oil. try and avoid that. It's quite a tricky neck to it. We'll see whether I can do it or not. Might try and do a video while I'm doing that for you. And an old bin liner just to put any voidy rubbishy bits in, and probably sling the old oil filter in that as well. Once we wrapped up in newspaper, the old oil filter is still there. You can see it there. In fact, it's probably easier to reach from here when we get to that. Size wise, this looks like it's 1 inch. An imperial bit that fits on there, and I think it's going to be a job for the torque wrench. I need to just check what we do that back up to, but usually it's hand tighten and 1/4, I think, from memory. So bear with me, we'll have a go. Right, let's see, hopefully you can see what we're doing here. And I did just make sure that this was going to come off. So with the torque wrench, I just gave that a quick crack, and you can see it's loose. That was nice and straightforward. Right, so bear with me. I'm sort of on my back here. You can see a little bit of oil. So I've loosened the cap, the oil cap at the top of the engine, filler cap. Empty container. Hopefully I've got that pretty much dead under there. Now I'm just going to find the right angle to to do this, so I can sort of get out the way when it starts to go. I don't know whether I'm going to use my gloves or not. It's there it is. It's starting to seep slightly. Maybe if I keep my hand at a slight angle down, I might be able to stop oil coming into me. There we go. There we go. So we were just twisting, we haven't dropped it. And there is the probably 12-year-old oil pouring out. So what we'll do is we'll let the majority of that just come out while we're watching, and then we'll leave that for a good while to finish draining properly. When I try and crawl out of here, I've got my camera resting on my little bit of spare paper. So, yep, we'll leave that to do its thing. So after a while, you'll see it's just starting to very slowly start to drip. I tend to leave this for quite a while, so you can try and get as much out as you can. So I'm just clambering out from under there. Oh, I should have brought the torch with me, shouldn't I? Let's just try and grab that, and then you can have a look at what the top of the engine's looking like. Lovely working on this Volvo. There's so much access. It's very easy to climb under there, unlike some cars I've worked on. Right, so as you can see, I mentioned this is loose. We'll just leave that like that. Don't want anything to fall in there, but at the same time we want air to be able to get in, so we don't have an airlock. We'll leave this a bit then and to drain, and then I'll have a go at trying to get the filter off. Okay, so I've loosened the oil filter. It was a little bit tight, so I used this tool here. You just basically wrap it round and lock it in place, and then it assists you in turning the filter. And you'll notice I've packed some newspaper underneath the oil filter, just because when we take that off, a bit of oil will no doubt leak out, because there will be oil in that filter. So I don't know, I hope that you can see this. Working slightly blind here, so but I wanted you to see it. So let's have a go. So what we're going to do is we're going to get some spare newspaper there. Well, have that ready to put our oil filter on. So and I'll wrap it up in this bit of newspaper, that's the plan, and then we can dispose of it. So how the best to do this? You see I can turn this now. So I am actually right underneath this. Let's hope that it doesn't all splodge out. We'll try and keep it upright. And I'll try and, actually I can see it sort of through here as well. This is where it all splodges out on me, isn't it? Come on, you. Okay, there she is. Ugh. Plop. Well, managed to get a little bit of oil on my newspaper. Good if I put it down. Now to try and get myself out of here. Just like that, eh? Okay, so that went relatively well, I'd say. You can just see that putting that newspaper down there stopped a lot of oil dripping onto that engine mount and power steering, bottom of the steering rack. Sorry, not power steering. Bottom of the steering rack. So, and the alternator's now down there as well. So we don't really want to splodge oil around where we can avoid it. So I might stick another filter on shortly. I'll just let it continue to drain, or I might do it tomorrow. I tend to leave it until I leave it overnight just to fully drain. It's not going to go anywhere in here, so that's good. So another update when we've got the new oil ready to put in and a filter in hand. Meanwhile, we'll just let it drain. Okay, so we've left this overnight to drain, and you can see it's pretty much stopped dripping now, oil. So I think just a little clean up at the bottom here. And we'll get the sump plug back in and get the new oil filter on, and get the new oil in. So that should be, yeah, should be pretty much the next steps. Okay, so what I tend to do is just try and put a little bit of oil in the oil filter before it goes on. I've heard this is a good idea to do. Helps the oil get into the filter before the engine started. So we'll do that, put a little bit in, hope it doesn't spill out. I've not overfilled it, I've only put maybe about there in there effectively. So we'll try and get that on next, and then we've got our sump plug back in, we can start filling the rest of the oil from the top of the engine. Okay, there it is. So I've just got it, removed all the paper that was around. Didn't have any major dramas with spilling any oil, and that is hand tight, as tight as I can get it with my hand without any other assistance. It should be enough. While we're down here, you can see the universal joint. That's the bottom of the steering rack. I might just put a little bit of wax oil on that while I'm down here. Well, after I've filled the oil, I don't want to get too sidetracked, which I do have a tendency to do. Not looking too bad at all under here, really. looking not too bad considering it's just had its, I've done it again, just had its 33rd birthday. Right, I'm going to get out from under here. Once you start dropping your phone in your face, you need to stop. Alright, I've just spent a little bit of time cleaning up the oil filler cap. It wasn't too bad, but just got rid of a little bit of old oil and crud that had built up. I'm going to use my DIY funnel here, which is the old top of a fizzy drink bottle. Oh, just noticed there's a bit of oil that's spilt there. I'll clean that up now as well before we fill the oil. But basically we're just going to be pouring into the oil into this funnel, and we want to put in 3.8 litres. So the container that we're using was marked at 4, so I'll just count down. I might try and put 3 litres, maybe then 3.5, and then just do the final little top up based on where the oil level is showing on the dipstick. Dipstick is, don't say behind the camera, there it is. So I'll get that out in a minute and just clean it up and then put it back in, and then we'll hopefully get some more accurate measurements when we start to put the oil in. Okay, so we're just at the just under the 2 litre marker on the oil can, and just poured that down into the engine via the filler. Let that settle for a few seconds, and then I'll get it down to the 1 litre level, and then that will mean I've put 3 in, and then we'll perhaps just do a little, well, we'll see if anything's registered on the dipstick, and then put another ½ litre and work it through until we're at the correct place on the dipstick. I've just cleaned that, by the way, took it out while I've got the camera in my hand. Let's see if I can do it one-handed. You can see there's a little area there which is like the max and min levels. If you look in the handbook, it'll tell you the level needs to be between either side of that cross hatching. I'll get it just probably 3/4. We'll aim for something like that. Doesn't look like there's anything registered on there at the minute. Oh, and the other thing we'll just double check of course is that nothing's dripping out the bottom. I did put the old drip tray back in, although it's got my gubbins in it, just in case, because my late grandfather once did an oil change and forgot to put the sump plug back in, and wasn't particularly happy about it. So I've learnt from his little error there. Right, I'll top this up, a bit more oil in shortly. Okay, the dipstick is now showing oil at about 3/4. Sorry, it's a bit hard to do this one-handed. I don't know if you can see that, probably not. It's better to do this in daylight really, but I'm doing it in the garage, so it's relying on the lights. But anyway, it was 3/4. You have to take my word for that. So I'm not going to fill it up anymore, because as you can see, cars on the ramps, I don't know if it's going to be completely flat. Ooh. What's going on here? Don't know. Tried to zoom out. Don't think it's completely, well, it's not completely level. So we've got enough oil in there to be able to turn the engine over. It's above the minimum, quite a bit above the minimum. Cleaned the cap up and cleaned a bit around the filler as well. I'll give that whole piece a clean at some point. That cylinder head, well, cam cover, isn't it, actually? Give that a nice proper clean up at some point, probably in the spring. Make sure the cap's on. We're ready to fire up and probably just go out for let it tick over for a bit, and then go out for a little run, and then bring it back into the garage and on the level, get rid of the ramps so it's on level, and then let it cool down, and then we'll check the oil level again and just top it up if it needs any more. But I've certainly not put more than the prescribed 3.8, and you can see it's sitting just under the 1 litre mark, so might be a little bit more to put in, but let's see.